Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the conference call to discuss Rossari Biotech's acquisition of Unitop Chemicals Private Limited. We have with us Mr. Edward Menez, Promoter and Executive Chairman, Mr. Sunil Chowri, Promoter and Managing Director, and Ms. Manasi Missal, CFO of the company. We'll begin the call with opening remarks from the management, following which we'll have the forum open for a question and answer session. Before we start, I would like to point out that some statements made in today's call may be forward-looking in nature, and a disclaimer to this effect has been included in the invite shared with you earlier. I would now like to invite Mr. Edward Menez to make his opening remarks.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the conference call at such a short notice. We at Rossari are very excited to share that today our Board of Directors approved the acquisition of Unitop Chemicals Private Limited. This is a major milestone and brings further dynamic to Rossari's growth story. Incorporated in the year 1980, Unitop Chemicals is a leading supplier of surfactants, emulsifiers, and specialty chemicals since the last 40 years, having a diversified customer base including large domestic and international companies. It has a strong product portfolio with superior presence in the agrochemicals and oil and gas segments. This acquisition will help us expand our operations into these untapped and promising categories with the specialty chemicals space. Importantly, Unitop Chemicals' key expertise is centered on surfactants, which, as most of you are aware, is one of Rossari's 4 core chemistries. So, the acquisition of Unitop Chemicals is a natural fit within our operations and brings with it immense synergies and complementary growth dimensions. In addition, Unitop Chemicals has 3 manufacturing sites in India with a total capacity of 86,000 metric tons per annum, and its key facility in Dahej is at close proximity to Rossari's existing facility. Overall, this is a very strategic and value-accretive opportunity for Rossari. The strategy of both our companies is a good fit with respect to custom-made formulations, customer-centric focus, fungible assets, etc. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the entrepreneurs behind Unitop Chemicals to have built a well-established and high-quality business model which, combined with Rossari, we believe will create incremental value for all our stakeholders. On the whole, we are excited to drive faster together with larger revenues, greater technological capabilities, stronger spread of market presence, and a well-aligned operating segment. I would now like to hand over to Mr. Sunil Chowri to share his comments.
Thank you, Edward Ji. Namaste and good evening to everyone. Hope you're all doing well. As mentioned by Edward Ji, this acquisition is strategic and value accretive in nature. Unitop Chemicals has a strong track record of serving a diversified customer base across India and overseas. Their solutions are R&D driven, customizable, and application driven in new and exciting categories of agrochemicals and oil and gas segments. Both Rossari and Unitop share the same customer-centric business approach and work culture. So the acquisition is complementary and mutually synergistic, thus fitting in within the ethos of Rossari's business model. We are very excited about this inorganic growth opportunity that will accelerate the growth momentum at Rossari. As per the agreement, our company will be acquiring 100% of the equity capital of Unitop Chemicals. 65% of the equity share capital will be acquired upon closure of the transaction, and the balance 35% over the next 2 years. The total consideration for the acquisition of 100% equity stake is rupees 421 crores. Rossari plans to fund the investment through cash on balance sheet and doesn't intend to raise any debt for this acquisition. As most of you are aware, in April 2021, we concluded a preferential issue of equity aggregating to 300 crore rupees in order to augment the strength of our balance sheet. Now to brief you on the financials, in the fiscal year 2020, Unitop Chemicals revenue stood at 280 crores with adjusted EBITDA at 43 crore rupees. FY 2021 unaudited estimated revenues are at over 300 crores. In FY 2020, agrochemicals contributed to 60% and oil and gas contribution stood at 10%. The company operates a healthy balance sheet profile with zero net debt. Unitop Chemicals also enjoys a healthy international presence with its solutions sold across 25 plus countries. Exports accounted for 30% of revenues in 2020. To sum up, this acquisition is highly synergistic. The acquisition and investment of capital to enable this initiative meet the parameters of operational and financial discipline outlined by our board. It brings in multitude of synergies and complementary dimensions such as expanded product portfolio in adjoining areas of specialty chemical segments, pooling together of related technologies, larger international exposure, better domestic market reach, and increased end-user industry applications. The company is professionally managed. We look forward to working together with Unitop Chemicals' well-experienced and competent talent pool in a progressive future. On the whole, the combination of Unitop Chemicals with Rossari will augment the quality and acceleration of our growth going forward. On that note, I come to the end of the opening remarks and would request the moderator to open the forum for any operational and strategic-led questions that you may have.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 at this time. The first question is from the line of Nitin Gosar from Invesco. Please go ahead.
Hi team, congrats, good acquisition. Wanted to understand on the product profile. See, the press release talks about they have superior presence in agrochemicals and oil and gas segment. I missed the number that you quoted for agrochemical contribution. Over here, wanted to understand what kind of products we are talking for both this division, or if you could shed some light on the product portfolio over these two segments.
Yeah, hi Nitin. If you want to look at the product portfolio, since their basic product manufacture is about on surfactants, their product portfolio can go across a multitude of industries. However, the focus of Unitop Chemicals is basically on agri-business as well as oil and gas. Other than that, they also have some businesses in textiles, in paints and pigments, in leather, in pulp and paper, etc. But that is minuscule at present. They do not have the focus on that. Like it was mentioned in the narrative that 60% of the business comes from agri, 10% from oil and gas, and the rest would be all these other industries.
Okay. And these products are more like, how should we see it from the outside? More like intermediates, technicals?
So the product range of Unitop Chemicals is again intelligent chemistry, where they use a formulation of various surfactants to emulsify active matter in agrochemicals, basically, as well as in the oil field chemicals for emulsification and detergency kind of effect to extract in the extraction of oil from the mines or from the drilling areas.
Okay, got it. And the second question is pertaining to the total capacity, which is around 86,000 metric tons. If you could share some further details, like what's the utilization level and what's the kind of additional land parcel which is available for us to take any kind of brownfield CapEx area?
Nitinji, out of the 86,000 metric tons per annum, about 65 to 70% capacity is utilized at the present moment, and the company sits on a land parcel of about 10 acres, out of which around 3 acres plus is a new acquisition which has been recently amalgamated into the old plot.
Okay. Sorry, just to clarify, so 10 acres is the plot and 3 acres have got added up recently?
No. The total is about 10 acres, out of which 3 acres have been added recently.
Okay. And are we utilizing ballpark 6 acres of land over here? Is that the way?
At present moment, 6 to 7 acres of land has been completely utilized. And we are in the process of they are in the process of expansion into warehouse, etc.
Okay, got it, sir. Thank you and all the best, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rohit Ohri from Progressive Shares. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. This is a very good value addition. Hopefully, now we can talk about 6 segments instead of the 4. My questions are more related to the the kind of expansion which they have actually filed for, which is for the synthetic organic chemicals. So can you please elaborate a bit on that?
Namaste, Rohitji. This is part of the performance chemicals, portfolio. So we would, look at it in that way, yeah. And we are very excited, because it helps accelerate the growth momentum which we already have.
Yes, sir. So the expansion plan for them, which they have already filed, is approximately 20 odd crore or something. Is it more that they have looked at?
What about क्या बोल रहे हैं आप 20 crores का, Rohit ji?
The environment clearance expansion plan which they have filed for.
Yes.
Unitop Chemicals Private Limited, which they have filed for Dahej property. So if you can elaborate a bit on that aspect of the expansions that they are doing.
Yeah, so Edward ji mentioned you that they have acquired, 3 acres land recently, and they are adding up, some capacity addition there for making the plant debottlenecking so that we are ready for higher capacity utilization.
Mm-hmm. So with this acquisition, you already mentioned that you get a capacity of around 86 odd. The company also has certain wings which are there in the international frontiers. That is a joint venture plant in Malaysia. So are they manufacturing anything, or is it just a sales and marketing unit over there?
Rohitji, for the Malaysian operations, the concentrates are made at the India manufacturing site and formulation done at the Malaysian site. So there is an MOU between Hexstar and Unitop, and it is to take care of the Malaysian market, local market for agrochemical formulations.
So is it more of the R&D center over there?
No, it's a production site, which is Hexstar is a very big Malaysian chemical company.
Okay. So knowing that they're quite big in size and they have a lot of divisions, read up to 5 or 6 of those, and they have around 600 plus registrations. So if we look at the chemical aspect or the specialty chemical aspect, how many such registrations will we have access to?
Registrations are a requirement in the agri-business and the oil and gas business. And that is why their products are registered there. But in the businesses that Rossari Biotech is into at present, do not require registrations. In our HPPC segment or in our animal health and nutrition segment or the textile specialty segment, We just need validation of our products in these industries. So it's a requirement of the agro business and the oil and gas business.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And these guys are backward integrated, is it? Or do we have to get some more speaking out of that?
Integration aspect in a big way. It is not a very big, Unitop, of course, is a supplier, but not a very, very big supplier. We would look at synergizing, basically within our customers and cross-selling their products to our customers and our product to their customers.
Thank you. Mr. Ohri, may we request that you return to the question queue for follow-up questions? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to ensure that the management is able to address questions from all participants in the conference, please limit your questions to 2 per participant. Should you have a follow-up question, we would request you to rejoin the question queue. The next question is from the line of Nikhil Rungta from Nippon India Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Edward ji and Tyagi ji. Congratulations on this acquisition, sir. Sir, 2 questions from my side. First is, what would be typical customer be in the agrochemical business, which forms around 60%? Would it be agrochem manufacturer or would it be agrochem intermediary manufacturer?
Namaste, Nikhil ji. There would be, both kind of customers. So they have a marquee list of customers. So there would be also, some would be ingredient manufacturers and some would be formulation manufacturers.
Okay. So basically, the names like Rallis, Dhanuka, we will be supplying to those type of people as well? I mean,
yes. Similar kind of agrochemical customers.
Okay. And sir, my second question is, what is the typical EBITDA margin for this company? You have already indicated for FY20 what it is. I mean, 43 crores of EBITDA, I believe you have already indicated in the release. So what is the average range? And what changes would you like to make in this EBITDA margin over the next few years?
At this moment, we have just started looking at it. The margins are in the range of 15%. So we would be happy to continue, 15 plus minus 2 kind of range.
Okay, perfect. So merging with Rossari would maintain our Rossari in the range of 16 to 18%, which you have last time indicated in the call.
The Rossari range is different, and that is at 16 to 18%. This is a different range, which is around 15%.
Perfect, sir. That's all from my side. All the best for the future. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Nikhilji.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Swarnabh Mukherjee from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Thank you, sir, for the opportunity and congrats on this milestone. Sir, first question, for the overall consolidated entity, given this around 280 to 300 crores of top line that you have mentioned in the press release that the company is currently having, so wanted to understand, will there be some amount of captive?
Sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Mukherjee. We are not able to hear you, sir. The audio is breaking from your line. Hello? Mr. Mukherjee, we are not able to hear you. Mr. Mukherjee, we are not able to hear you, sir. As there is no response from the current participant, we'll move on to the next question from the line of Sanjesh Jain from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir, and very congrats on the acquisition and best wishes on it. Few questions from my side. First, on the management side, you said it's professionally managed. So that professionally managers will continue. How will be the structure in terms of managing the Unitop?
Yeah, you're right. The company is currently professionally managed, and the entire professional team, which is at Unitop, will remain with us in the near foreseeable future. So we don't intend to make any change at the present moment.
So it's not going to, the operations will not be merged. So they will run as a different entity and we will run as a different entity. Is that the right way to think about it?
Yes, you're right.
Barring some on the top line, on the top head office side, barring that the entire operations will be completely different, right?
Absolutely right.
Okay. That's on the first. Second, whether the surfactant manufactured by the Unitop, is it a oleo-based or a petrochemical based? As in we use LA or LAPSA?
It is a combination. So, not LAPSA. LAPSA is used here, but in a different product line completely. But what they manufacture is basically from oleo as well as petrochemical, where we have synthetic alcohols. So it will be from fatty acids and alcohols, both synthetic as well as natural.
And what will be the combination, natural versus synthetic?
That I will not be able to let you know at the present moment. I don't have those numbers in front of me.
Okay. No problem, Edwardji. One follow-up question on the capex plan. You said that you are looking at expanding, or the Unitop had a plan to expand their facility. Two questions here. The existing utilization is close to 65 to 70%. So what prompts us for the expansion, and are we intending to continue that expansion plan which earlier promoter intended at? And if yes, what is the kind of capex we are looking at there?
So actually, there is no expansion of capacity in that sense. Due to congestion in the current plot that they had, they got the opportunity to have an adjacent plot which they amalgamated into the existing company and existing plot area. So therefore, what they're doing now, what they've already done now is that they have shifted warehousing and storage facilities to the newer plot, and the expansion that was to be done is already almost complete. So there is not going to be any additional capex other than maintenance capex there.
Got it. Just one last bit from my side. If I take 65% as a capacity utilization and 300 crores of revenue, the average realization works to like 54 rupees. It looks significantly lower than the per kg price. What we look at Galaxy Surfactant, there it works out to close to 115 rupees. There I am taking only the performance part of it. Why there is more than 2x of a difference in the realization?
So here the type of material is multifold. You first manufacture the surfactants, and then you manufacture the formulations and the dispersants and other adjuvants basically that we are doing. So therefore, the final production, the sale price of the product will be in the region of 100 to 150 bucks and not 54 rupees or 40 rupees.
No, I am not able to understand, because a 300 crores of turnover is all you have added, right? And the utilization I am taking what you said, which is 65%. If I do a simple math of dividing the turnover by the capacity, the average unit price works out to 54. Whereas they sell only plain surfactant, which costs 117 rupees. Here we add the water and also the prices come down, or how should we see this 54 rupees is a concept? Because we are talking of adding more value over it, right? So we are talking of formulation, we are talking of emulsification, many intermediate process, and then the final product. That means it should be more than 117 rupees. Now, what I'm missing here?
So actually, what you're missing is that it's a multi-step production, basically. Therefore, the production seems to be 86,000 tons. But for a pure product, it is not 86,000 tons. They may be producing, I don't have exact figures in front of me, it may be 40,000-50,000 tons, and the rest, or maybe even 30,000 tons, and then the rest of that is converted into formulations.
Okay, so when you say 86,000 is a completely integrated plant, where some of the plant is actually a feedstock to a next step. So that 86,000 capacity is not the right way to look at. So what is the sellable capacity in it?
The saleable capacity would be, just like I said, if 40,000 tons is the first base material production, then the saleable capacity will be between 30 and 40,000 tons.
Okay. So 86 is not the right way to look at from the unit pricing perspective, right?
Yes, right.
It is a 30-40 which is the right way to look at it. That clarifies me. Thank you very much, sir, and best wishes.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please limit your questions to 2 per participant. Should you have a follow-up question, we would request you to rejoin the question queue. Mr. Swarnam Mukherjee is back again in the question queue from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, and congrats on the milestones, Edward G. So, couple of questions. Sir, so first one is, just wanted more color on the growth that we can see post the amalgamation from this business, in terms of should we expect a steady state kind of a growth that Rossari sees in its standalone business, something similar in this, and if there is any captive consumption of Unitop products by Rossari, where the 300 crore kind of top line that we saw in FY21 is actually going to partly fructify when we do a consolidation. So, sir, that is the first question. And the second question is on basically the timelines of completion of the acquisition. So, wanted to understand the thought process behind doing 65% acquisition initially and not the full acquisition, because I think we had sufficient cash on liquid investments in our books. And do we have a timeline for the remaining 50%? So these are the two questions.
Namaste, Swarnamji. Happy to see you back. First, in terms of growth, last year the company grew, in around 15% growth. As we are not allowed to make forward-looking statements, we are happy to work hard, on making this acquisition value accretive for all our shareholders. In terms of closing timelines, it should be less than 2 months. That is what is our plan. Thirdly, with the amount of money, we could, pay 100%, but if we could get 100% control, paying 65%, and we are growing, we would be earning money from the acquisition and paying in the subsequent 2 years.
Right, sir. So just to clarify, on the growth aspect, is like the FY21 versus FY20 performance a steady state, or was there an impact of COVID? Because that was a little bit flattish. And the fact that related to the acquisition, what I guess is that you want to conserve some cash right now and then later on to finish it. So are these understandings correct?
Swarnamji, in spite of COVID, they've done well in the last year. And, we are waiting for the audited figures, and as soon as the audited figures come in, we will share, with all our shareholders and investors.
Yeah. I mean, just the qualitative way, I don't want a number, but just wanted to understand, because they're in oil and gas, so there would have been some impact of the COVID period, at least in the earlier part of the FY21, right, sir? Would that be a fair understanding?
They are into agrochemicals, so agrochemicals is a good industry to be in, and that's why they had a good year, 2021.
Okay, got it, sir. All right, I will come back in the queue, and also all the best for the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Chetan Thakkar from ASK Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Congratulations on the acquisition. I just had one question. Just wanted to get a sense on how does this acquisition help fill in the chemistry gap that you wanted to fill in? So just wanted to understand that from that perspective, has it accelerated what you wanted to do? And if yes, what was the gap, and how does this acceleration has happened with this acquisition?
So, as you know that Unitop Chemicals is into the same chemistry as we are dealing with, and that is the surfactant chemistry. So, having the same ingredients, now we are able to cook a newer different menu. So, the different menu is in the agrochemicals, in the oil field, in the leather industry, in the pulp and paper and construction industry. All these surfactants would go in there, and the application knowledge as well as the formulation knowledge, which in turn becomes a newer technology for us, is what
synergies, so right to assume that the first phase you're essentially looking at cross-selling both their product and your product to your existing customers?
No. We will build on the strengths of both the companies, basically. So we will focus on the agri business and driving the oil and gas business upward. That is what our focus will be. Mainly because both these businesses require, have long gestation time for approval. Almost between 1 and 3 years for approval of a particular formulation. So we will focus on, driving sales in these segments for them. That is how our formulation expertise or our formulation knowledge and their formulation knowledge will form synergies and will help them to grow that business. And also look at the operating leverage and synergies so that we can improve margins.
And in terms of growth, if I look at their historical numbers of you filed, so it's a 14% kind of CAGR on revenue in the last 3 years. So fair to assume the aim will be to accelerate this and take it more to 20-22% over a period of time? And that kind of ability is available with the basket and the clientele that you're looking at?
Unfortunately, I will not be able to give you a number on what would be the growth in the future. But yes, of course, that is the plan. That's the potential we have seen with their range of products and their expertise. So we find that if we put in our, synergies with them, our expertise and experience in sales and marketing, etc., we are sure that we will get growth in both these areas.
And the balance payment, sir, is based on any milestone, or it's just the way you wanted to spread the outflow of the acquisition money out?
We were interested to spread the outflow, not any milestone.
Got it. Great, sir. Thank you so much and all the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rohit Nagraj from Sunidhi Securities. Please go ahead.
Congratulations, Edward sir and Sunil sir, for this acquisition. Good to hear it. So the first question is, as we look at Unitop, it is also indicated that they have some R&D collaboration with some of the MNCs. So will it have any complementary impact on our R&D? And the concurrent question to it, they are predominantly into ethoxylates and propoxylates. So how much of their total revenue forms a part of these two categories? Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't get your second question, but the first question, to answer your first question, the customers with which they have ties for R&D development, they are completely different from our customers. And therefore, there won't be any synergy there. And I will wait for the second question, I'm sorry.
They are predominantly into ethoxylates and propoxylates. So how much of their revenue form part of the ethoxylates and propoxylates? Are there any other chemistries that they also have?
No, they predominantly manufacture ethoxylates and propoxylates and certain other surfactants based on LAPSA and things like that, and a combination. But the expertise and the synergy that we see, or the good fit that we see, is they are into formulations, value-added formulations, value-accretive formulations in agro and oil and gas, similar to us, what we are doing in textiles, in animal health and nutrition and HPPC.
Right. So the second question is, in terms of the promoters selling out the company, so any particular reason for them to sell out the company and completely going out of the business, probably not having a JV or something of that sort? Thank you.
They had succession issues, and that was the reason why they wanted to, hand over to some good company who they thought could carry the legacy forward and make a good success out of it.
Thank you so much for answering the questions, and best of luck, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ashish Agarwal from Principal India. Please go ahead.
Sir, just one clarification and one question on the acquisition. The rest of 1/3 payment is not linked to the performance of this acquired entity going forward. This is a fixed valuation. Irrespective of the performance of the acquired entity over the 2 years, you have to pay the rest 120, 130 odd crores. Am I right?
Yes, there is no linkage to future EBITDA. It is a fixed valuation which you have decided and fixed installments to be paid in 2 tranches.
Okay. And secondly, sir, this acquired entity, what could be the gross block and what is the capex plan for next 2 years? Is there any capex plan for this entity for next 2 years? Hello?
The gross block would be, 50 to 60 crore rupees, and there is not very big capex planning, in the.
Oh, got it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ankit Gaur from Systematics. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, sir. Sir, if I really see, ROC number, ROC is roughly 18% for Unitop, while our ROC is about 25%. So any plan to make this acquisition ROC accretive, one, and secondly, asset turn looks pretty low than our basic business, which is Rossari. We are at 5, 6x, while this is at like 3 to 4x. So any low-hanging fruit we see in terms of clientele, in terms of revenue, or also any low-hanging fruit with regards to the operating benefits?
Namaste. With growth will automatically there will be ROC improvement. The ROC is already for Unitop we see at 20%, and for the combined, in spite of raising of 300 crores in preferential, and we being a debt-free company, the ROC is still very attractive in FY22, and with growth, it will definitely improve.
But on face of it, looks ROC not attractive, right? For us, or you mean to say that overall we will reach to our company level?
100% it will be, value accretive for Rossari. Over a period of time, you could see, good growth in the ROC elsewhere.
Right, sir. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amar Maurya from AlfAccurate Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Sir, thanks a lot for the opportunity. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah. So thanks a lot for the opportunity. Number one question is in terms of the current top line, as the previous participant asked, in terms of the fixed asset turnover ratio at the overall company level, what would be our time frame within 2-3 years we can make this fixed asset turnover ratio reaching to the Rossari's turnover ratio? That is number one. Second thing is in terms of the chemistry, both from the raw material handling perspective as well as from the customer synergy perspective, if you can explain us more how the synergies are built, because I believe ethoxylation is a very high pressure chemistry and we were never dealt with TO earlier, right? So if you can add in these two perspectives.
See, we are using at this moment 60 to 65% of the capacity. So as growth comes in, definitely the yields and margins would be better in terms of ROC. The asset turnover also would definitely increase, in the future as we have higher capacity utilizations. Secondly, on the ethoxylation, Edward would get to.
So ethoxylation is not really a high pressure reaction. It is just that we have to have the right safety norms in place, and we are pretty used to this kind of polymerization, where in the past we do polymerization of styrene and acrylates or runaway reactions of acrylic acids. So we are very require a high amount of safety. So Unitop being a 40-year-old company. They have all the safety precautions. They have a very strong EHS team. The safety team is in place. And I think that since we are going to maintain the same team that is there, the entire professional senior management team will be with us for the next 2 to 3 years for sure. So we don't see any problem in handling ethoxylates.
And sir, if I can squeeze one more, what would be the IRR, you would have, since you had paid 410 crores, what was the internal IRR for you which you would have calculated?
We see a very healthy IRR in line with Rossari IRR.
Okay. So meaning about 25%?
20% reaching to, higher figures, going up to 25%.
Okay. Fantastic, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rohit Sinha from Emkay Global. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for taking my question. Congrats for this acquisition. Some of my questions are already answered, and sorry, I lost somewhere in between, so pardon me if this second question is already being asked. But my question was just a follow-up question from one of the participants, as you mentioned that the margins would be in the similar range. So what it would be required for us to improve the margin in future, whether it would be the change in the product mix or industry mix or improvement in the utilization or any other factor, if you can add it. That's it from my side.
Here, as we mentioned in our narrative, as well as I would like to say now, that we see benefits of synergy and operating leverage, because of which we think that the margins will improve in the future.
Okay. So anything on, would there be any change in the our industry exposure going forward, or it could be in the range?
So it expands, our performance chemicals, which is part of the HPPC, portfolio. So the focus on the performance chemicals grows now, and we have new customers to add to in areas where we are not present. So we're very excited, with this possibility.
Okay, that's it from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Naushad Chaudhary from Systematic Shares and Stocks. Please go ahead.
Hi, congratulations on a good deal, sir. Just a couple of clarification I wanted. First, wanted to understand how old the Unitop plant is, and will there be any initial capex required to bring the products of Unitop to the desired quality and yield of Rossari? Will there be any capex required, or are we good to go with the existing structure?
The facility is about 8 to 10 years old.
And we would not require too much of capex in the future.
Secondly,
Continue, Naushad bhai.
Yeah, any overlap between these two businesses, our business and Unitop? Any percentage of business which is overlapping between these two, and any kind of backward and forward integration synergy which we will derive from this acquisition, if we can talk?
Practically, there is no overlap. There is some sales from Unitop to textile and animal health, but it is negligible compared, as you see, as you told, agro and oil and gas are the major businesses they have. So there is no overlap, and that is why we are very excited on getting into new areas where we can do cross-selling both to our customers and to their customers.
And on synergy part, sir, any backward or forward integration benefit with this acquisition?
Not very big part of synergy.
Lastly, if I can squeeze in, what is the key raw material for this business? Will there be any sourcing advantage post acquiring this business?
Yeah, the key raw materials are common basically. If you look at the alcohols and the EO is coming from a single source, Reliance, but all kinds of hydrophobes, that is alcohol, fatty acids, vegetable oils, all these things are almost common to both the industries, or all these industries that we are in.
All right, all the best, sir. I'll come back in queue.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pranit Agarwal, individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening, and congratulations on the milestone, sir. I have a couple of questions. If you could throw some light on the payback period which you have calculated, assuming the transaction is completed by FY24. And second, if you can give some color on the synergy gains which would be arising out of the transaction.
The payback period is around 5 years, and we would, try to make it faster. Definitely, we'll put all our efforts to it. Can you please repeat the second question?
Yeah, I wanted to. If it would be nice if you could throw some light on the synergy gains which would be arising out of the transaction.
The synergy gains, as we said, would be, cross-selling. We're getting new customers where we sell our existing product range in Rossari, and the Unitop Chemicals products selling to our customers.
So, I was hoping if you could give some quantitative figure on that.
That is, unfortunately, very too early, to comment on all this.
Okay, and also if you could throw some light on the impact on EPS of the transaction, ballpark figure.
Pranitji, this will be EPS accretive, definitely for, Rossari.
Okay, thanks a lot, sir, and congratulations again.
Thank you, Pranitji.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Swarnabh Mukherjee from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity again. Sir, so I just wanted to understand on the Malaysian JV that Unitop has. So, what kind of growth expectations do you have from this JV? And any color on what kind of profit it will be making? Because I think at the end in the financial statement, it would be consolidated as a JV and directly the bottom line of the co-aided. Would that be a correct assumption?
Sonarji, the Malaysian association is very, very small. The sales is, less than 5%. So it is not of very, very big. But our endeavor would be to grow this because there's a good partner and the market is good, and there is a ready formulation setup which we could use. So in that aspect, we don't see very big gains immediately, but in the future we would work on it.
Okay, sounds good. And another thing was that this company has collaboration with quite a lot of big agrochemical players names like Dow, etc. From Rossari's current product set point of view, any advantage you think you will garner from these collaborations that Unitop has?
Sonarji, acrylic, chemistry is something which could, be very, very useful. The defoamers range would be very, very useful. So these are all chemistries which can go into the agrochemical industry from the Rossari product baskets.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. That's all from me.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amar Maurya from Alpha Accurate Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Thanks a lot for the opportunity again. Sir, as you alluded, the 5-year would be the payback period. So, what kind of free cash, what we are saying is that 84 crores kind of a operating cash flow we will be generating every year. So, what practically we are talking is doubling the margin? Hello?
No, margin cannot double. The growth will come in the future.
नहीं सर, 5 साल का पेबैक पीरियड समझ में नहीं आया. क्योंकि अभी तो 40 करोड़ का EBITDA है, बराबर?
सर अभी इन्वेस्टमेंट हमारा अभी 65% ही जा रहा है. So the future growth and coupled with phase wise payments, that is why the payback looks like 5 years.
Okay. And secondly, sir, ठीक है. I mean, I'll probably come ask you separately. No issue, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sanjay Jain from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for taking my question again. Just on the question on the formulation and selling the ethoxylates independently. So what's the mix for us? How much of the sales in the Unitop is a formulation sale and how much of it is a sale of just an intermediate product?
Sanjay ji, namaste. The more is formulations. We do not have an exact breakup at this moment.
So when we say formulation, what exactly we mean by formulation?
So formulations means when there are active ingredients in agro, these need to be emulsified and made as stable dispersion. And for that, there is a particular technology involved where a combination of surfactants and additives and adjuvants are used. That formulation is something that is developed jointly with most of the agrochemical companies. And this formulation, once it is approved, because the formulation itself takes, formulation and the approval and validation of these formulations itself take years together. So it's not only our formulations, but also the formulations of the final product manufacturer. So for example, if it is a UPL or if it is a Bayer Crop Science, it's a very, very tricky matter for them, and therefore it takes years to approve a particular formulation from our side or from the Unitop side, as well as the final formulation which the companies sell into the marketplace. It's a pretty complicated issue where product stability and the delivery of the ingredients onto the crops is very, very important and takes quite some time to standardize.
Basically, formulation means we are selling a blend of surfactant or an emulsifier which goes into stabilizing or making the final formulation, which will be done by the customer, not by us.
Yes, correct. But it is jointly done. It is not that we just give the formulation to the manufacturer and then he does his own R&D. It's a joint effort.
So basically, it's a blend of surfactant and an emulsifier which goes in the formulation of the final product. It is not the formulation we sell. We sell the blend.
Absolutely. We sell the blend, not only the blend, but the process for formulation also. The process for emulsification also is something that we do along with the customer.
No, what does that mean exactly? Sorry to ask.
It means चाय बनाने के लिए पहला पानी लो, पानी को उबालो, फिर उसके बाद चाय पत्ती डालो, फिर उसके बाद शुगर डालो, फिर उसके बाद दूध डालो. It's that kind of a thing. It's like a process.
Okay. We give the process to them and the blend, and they can make the formulation at their end.
No, we work jointly with them, with the process, but the blend is ours. We don't give them our formulations. We give them our blend. So what Unitop generally does is they get an active ingredient, and that active ingredient will be worked upon by us. That will again go back to the customer. The customer will do it in his own premises. Then he will do a pilot. He will do a bigger batch and a bigger batch, and then he will do stability studies. All this takes about 2 to 3 years basically to finalize. Once it is finalized, it is very difficult for another supplier to get in. It's similar to what we do in textiles and in home and personal care.
Got it. So they are forward integrated as well as backward integrated. They manufacture ethoxylate, they do the blend and sell to the formulators.
Similar to Rossari, we manufacture many ingredients, but we don't sell the ingredients in the marketplace. We sell the formulations. Similarly, Unitop is a great fit for us because they manufacture some of the ingredients and produce the value-added formulations and sell into the marketplace. They could also sell the ingredients by themselves, but they don't do it. That's not their strategy.
Got it. Thank you, sir, and best of luck.
Thank you, Sanjay ji.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Aman Vij from Astute Investment Management. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. I have two questions. First is on the product as well as customer concentration. So if you can talk about top 5 product contribution as well as top 5 customer concentration.
In terms of customer concentration, the top 10 constitute 20%, so it's very well dispersed, very well diversified customer base. In terms of product segment, it is all surfactants, so there will be 1,000 formulations and more.
Sure. So there are no particular surfactants which have higher contribution to the sales?
So it's a wide range of surfactants, and blends and a lot of formulations.
Sure, sir. And my second and final question is on the working capital days. If you can talk about it, seems to be on the higher side.
It is average, for the industry, which happens, and we don't see, any alarming bells, with the kind of reputation they have in the customer base. We'll, of course, Rossari has a history of having a prudent working capital, and we will, put our efforts to reducing it too.
Current working capital days is 5 to 6 months, or?
They are in the range of 90 to 100 days.
90 to 100 days. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I now hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Thank you, everyone. I hope we have been able to answer all your questions satisfactorily. Should you need any further clarifications or would like to know more about the company, please feel free to contact our team or CDR India. Thank you once again for taking out the time on this call, and stay safe. Good evening.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen,